In the name of International News Media, this is Awi Abayari presenting our Holy Week special. With us today is a woman of extraordinary talent. She is a singer, a composer, a pianist, a book author, and an award-winning concert artist. Let us all listen to Olivia Villarreal as she reflects on the fourth of the 7 last words. My God, why hast thou forsaken me? Here now is Olivia Villarreal.
My God, why hast thou forsaken me? Came his agonizing cry as he hung on the cross. What excruciating pain must he have been enduring at that point for him to have groaned that way? My soul trembles to imagine the avalanche of pain, sorrow, and abandonment that came crashing in on him on that fateful hour. We can't help but cringe just to imagine the physical pain he must have endured as the nails were being driven through his hands and feet to suspend him on the cross, and the crown of thorns that had been shoved upon his sacred head. The physical torture would have been excruciating enough, but there was yet another pain that was far deeper. He felt alone, forlorn, abandoned even by his own disciples because of fear. Jesus had already anticipated this when he told his disciples earlier, "The spirit is willing, but the flesh is weak." Notwithstanding all these, he was also going through a spiritual defeat. He felt that his teachings were for naught, because what seemed to be apparent was the triumph of evil, which meant that his entire ministry was meaningless. Furthermore, his words, my God, why hast thou forsaken me?" was a cry of desperation, knowing that he was no longer in the presence of God when he, as man, had assumed and had taken as his own the sins of mankind. All throughout his bitter passion and death, he knew of the enormity of his burden, because the cross which he carried on his shoulder bore the sins of all humanity. Based on human terms as we know it, it would mean the past, the present, and the future. Jesus in his divine nature is not bound by time or space. A moment is a point in time. It doesn't mean anything from a timeless point of view. Jesus has 2 natures, human and divine. His divine nature allowed him to see more deeply and clearly the full weight of his burden, and yet he accepted such burden wholeheartedly out of love that only he can give. Therefore, when he died, he carried all our sins, the sins of his time and any future time as we conceive of it. He saw everything in the moment and was able to comprehend beyond all human understanding the enormity of his burden. The weight of the cross that he carried on his shoulder represented the heavy weight of the sins of all mankind. And he saw this, yet he wholeheartedly accepted such burden because of his love for humanity, which is the epitome of love, a love that is beyond all human understanding and beyond all measure. Jesus paid for all our sins through his bitter passion and death on the cross. His suffering and death on the cross will forever be engraved in the hearts and souls of those who love him. What a harrowing imagery! That one death has created a wrinkle in time that can never be effaced from human history. That one death has created a movement that has endured for generations and will continue to endure throughout the ages. And as long as humanity endures, as long as the essence of that one death is kept in mind, humanity progresses into a perfection that has been intended for it by our divine Creator. In Martin Luther King's words in our current time, the arc of the moral universe is long, but it bends towards justice. Man will continue to forge his way toward justice because justice is the representation of good, which is love in its true form. So we can hope that the arc of humanity is long and it bends towards goodness, which is love in its ultimate perfection. If you would sincerely like to spread love and kindness, you could start today by touching the lives of people close to you. Make the people around you happy in one way or another by showing them at least one act of love and kindness. It is my hope that somehow my participation in this program today has given you comfort and happiness and has inspired you to have a deeper communication with God. May God bless you all.